right ahead on CCX News, the Brooklyn Center project that one developer says city officials will be thrilled and blown away by. Plus, a Robbinsdale fundraiser for a good cause.
I really don't know where I would be without Vail.
Learn more about a place that helps people with mental illnesses. But first, perspective on sex trafficking crimes. This after an egregious case involving teenage girls in Brooklyn Park. CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. 5 people are charged in connection with an underage sex trafficking ring in Brooklyn Park.
Police say there are at least 3 female victims between the ages of 15 and 17 who were sold for sex through online ads.
What does make this case unusual is it really was an organized ring that was kind of gathering runaways and then converting them into prostitutes and then doing it for profit.
Brooklyn Park police say they are confident they got the main players in this case. These 4 people are accused of running the sex trafficking ring. Michaela Collins of Milwaukee is accused of being the ringleader. According to the criminal complaint, at least 2 of the girls solicited for sex were runaways. In exchange for a place to stay at Collins' apartment along the 6300 block of Boone Avenue, the girls were expected to sell themselves for money. In some cases, the sex took place in cars in the parking lot of the apartment complex. Police say the crimes occurred over the last year.
These runaways do become victims out in society, and that's why we, every time we get one, we're always trying to find them as quickly as possible.
The case is still under investigation to find out if there are more victims. The known victims have all been brought to safe places for appropriate care.
In Brooklyn Center, what an apartment developer says will be a spectacular change in the city. The City Council approved 3 conditions this week that helps Brooklyn Center-based SWEDBERG apartment specialists to move forward with the purchase of the former Earl Brown Terrace Senior Living building along Highway 100. The company plans to make a significant investment in the property, turning senior living units into luxury apartments. It expects to make $3.5 million worth of improvements. The SWEDBERG company owns 4 separate apartment buildings in Brooklyn Center, and they say this will be their most expensive per unit renovation. Those improvements include 2 rooftop decks that the developer says will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The City of Plymouth wants your feedback on plans to possibly expand the Plymouth Creek Center. On Tuesday, July 17th, the city will send out a short survey to residents who registered to give input. Residents can still sign up on Plymouth's website. The Plymouth Creek Center is nearly 20 years old and needs mechanical and roofing improvements. Besides normal wear and tear, the facility is also crunched for space. Since the facility was built, the city has grown by more than 10,000 people. The 70th annual Whiz Daze kicks off today in Robbinsdale.
Reporter Sonia Goins joins us now with a preview of the fun. Hi there, Sonia.
Hi, Alex and Shannon. I'm at the Whiz Bangs Ice Cream Social, and it's a good day for ice cream because it's so hot out here. And you can see the people behind me lined up to get the tasty treat. This is truly a family-friendly event. There's lots of ice cream. You can get your own toppings. We've got caramel, chocolate. Anything you want, you can practically get. The Robbinsdale Fire Department is also here, showing off one of their big rigs. The Robbinsdale Police Department is also here. There's so many things to see and do in the next couple of days. Joining me now to tell me all about the event is Regan Murphy. Mayor,
how are you?
How are you? People are so excited for the big block party. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, first of all, happy Whiz Bang, and in true Whiz Bang fashion, it's hotter than heck out, which is great, better than rain. But yeah, the big block party is Friday night, tomorrow night. Travail's hosting that, and it should be a fun event. And we got wrestling, food, stuff for everybody.
And my personal favorite is the garage sales, or I should say the sales off of West Broadway. Can you tell us about that? It's the first time in a long time that you're bringing this back, right?
So it's an old classic that they brought back, so all along West Broadway, numerous businesses and vendors will be there for a sidewalk sale, and then also the Robbinsdale Lions will be doing kind of their bistro in the plaza, so they'll have hot dogs and hamburgers and food and beverages for everyone, so it's perfect. Get outside and enjoy it.
Okay, and real quick, tell us about the fireworks, because you guys are raising money for that.
Yeah, well, people don't realize the fireworks, they're just over $10,000. They're not cheap. So we're trying to raise money. There's a GoFundMe page right now to raise money for fireworks, to make sure the show happens. But it's Sunday night at 10 p.m. and rain or shine.
Okay, so there's lots to see and do here. By the way, Citizens Bakes will still sponsor this event. However, it might move to a new location. We'll tell you about all that tomorrow at 5. Live in Robbinsdale. Sonia Goin, CCX News.
All right, thanks a lot, Sonia. A part of Whiz Bang Daze this weekend will include bringing some awareness to an important issue.
The Tour de Vail will raise awareness and money for people living with mental illness. One place they can get support is at Vail Place.
All right, that's boiling.
It's almost lunchtime at Vail Place.
We're not in a rush here. We still got an hour and 15 minutes till we serve.
And on the menu today,
We are making a quinoa base with a chicken mushroom sauce.
the cooks never know exactly how many people will be eating the meals, but it's here for the people who want it.
I don't know anywhere else in town you can get a really healthy, tasty meal for $2.
This service is one of many resources at Vail Place, which helps adults with mental illnesses find friendship, employment, and much more.
We're a place that's kind of a central clearinghouse of support and services, so housing supports, employment, education. Really I sometimes say that we're a one-stop shop for helping people who are trying to figure out what they need to do next.
Chad Bolstrom says Vail Place uses a clubhouse model, which gives members a place to have purpose.
Part of what Vail really kind of prides itself is providing a preventative, a recovery-based model that helps you to get well before things really break all the way down.
When I came here, I was in a really, really bad place.
Lisa BANDEMER has battled depression and anxiety for years. She lives in Golden Valley, but she's here at Vail Place quite a bit.
It is just so comforting and so helpful to be able to be in a place where people really get it.
Lisa says the connections she's made here have made all the difference in her journey to wellness.
It really saved my life. I know that sounds very dramatic, but it's true. It's true. I really don't know where I would be without Vail.
The Tour de Vail raises money for Vail Place, which has locations in Minneapolis and in Hopkins. The fundraiser is Saturday with registration starting at 8 a.m. from Lakeview Terrace Park. You can run, bike, walk, or stroll all around Crystal Lake.
At Maple Grove Days, volunteers are spreading the word about bringing something new to the city to honor fallen soldiers. The Maple Grove Beyond the Yellow Ribbon group has spent the past 3 years working to bring a veterans memorial to the city. It would be located at Central Park. The memorial will feature steel panels and honor those who fought in all military conflicts from the Civil War on. Fundraising for the project is nearing the finish line.
We have a goal of 250,000. We're at 210,000 now, so we need that extra 40 to be done. So we're right there. We need all the help we can get, though.
Groundbreaking is planned for sometime in the fall. The goal is to have it ready by Memorial Day next year. Still ahead, a science camp that helps cool kids off in Brooklyn Park.
Plus, Terry Tuma's weekly fishing tip, what he means by finding the right strike window.
But first, expect a wet start to your Friday morning. Temperatures do cool off a little bit. We'll be right back.
When people think of science, the general stereotype is of people conducting experiments in a lab.
But science doesn't just happen in a lab, of course. As Elaine Cleveland reports in this week's edition of What I Learned at Summer Camp, the Three Rivers Park District is teaching kids that science can also happen outside, where they can interact with nature.
On a hot and humid day near the Coon Rapids Dam,
Water balloons are super fun, right?
it's only natural that kids would find a way to cool off.
Try again.
Yet in this case, they have a chance to learn something in the process.
In this camp, we like to use common household materials to make fun toys and interesting scientific experiments.
Allison HOLZER is an interpretive naturalist with the Three Rivers Park District.
Yes.
This week, she's leading a summer camp called Whiz Bang Science.
A camp that's designed to get kids that are interested in science also out in nature and enjoying the outdoors.
On this day, the kids are making something out of sponges.
For this part, you need to wear your goggles.
Yes, this camp activity essentially revolves around making reusable water bombs. So not only is it a hands-on way to teach science, it's also not a bad way to beat the heat.
The more you get to do, the more you remember, the more you retain. It's important to give kids a chance to explore so that they have a chance to ask questions and get their own curiosity sparked.
Yet this camp activity wasn't just about hitting each other with sponges. They also had the opportunity to see how far they could launch their sponges using slingshots.
You can add more water to make it go farther, or if you add too much water, it goes not that far.
It was a test of how much water to use, combined with determining the proper launch angle.
Get as low as you can and pull it back really far.
A fun experiment that not only keeps the kids cool, but helps to foster their love of science and the environment.
Maybe when I become an astronaut, I can use some of the stuff I learned in this camp.
In Brooklyn Park,
Science can be used in a lot of different ways, and it can help save the planet.
Dwayne Cleveland, CCX News.
Three Rivers still has camps available this summer. For a list of options, you can go to our website at ccxmedia.org. Still ahead, why keeping score at Twins games isn't always easy.
But first, a preview of this weekend's big men's softball tournament in New Hope. John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Maple Grove is one of a handful of local American Legion baseball teams taking part in the big 96-team Gopher Classic tournament starting Friday morning across the metro area. Ahead of that, though, Maple Grove hosted Coon Rapids in a North Hennepin League game. Coon Rapids starts fast. Top of the first, Nicholas locks it in with a hit to score Brock Roloff, and that starts a big inning. Bases loaded for Ryan Garlick. He drives it to the fence. The three-run triple, and Coon Rapids leads 7-0 after half an inning. Top of the third with a strong wind blowing out to right. Garlick's fly ball carries. It's gone for a solo home run, and it's 8-0. Maple Grove gets on the board in the bottom of the third. Steven Sauls goes yard for a solo shot. And that wind continues to pick up throughout the game, and in the fifth, Jerry Gooley takes advantage, lifting a fly ball that just clears the fence. This is a two-run homer, and Maple Grove starts to chip away at that Coon Rapids lead. Bottom of the sixth, Saul strokes a fly ball to center. That drops for extra bases, and Jared Hansen jogs home to make it 9-5. The Grove gets two more in the sixth. Ben Buchert rips the hit to score Sauls, and Zach Friedman, and the lead is down to 9-7. The Crimson goes down in order in the seventh inning, and Coon Rapids wins it 9-7. A big men's softball tournament returns to the North Metro this weekend. It's the Duck Duck Daze men's tournament going on in connection with New Hope's City Celebration. We talked to tournament director Mike Schoen about this year's event.
We got C division, which is our silver division, and then we got the bronze division, which is D&E teams, and we got 40 or 35 teams in that one. And we're looking from 6 to 9 in the C division, which there's not as many C teams around, but that's starting to build, so hopefully in the future that's going to start to grow, and we just added that division last year, so it's going good.
Tell me about the particulars.
We got games Friday night starting at 6 o'clock at Lions Park, Northwood Park here, Lighted Field, and also Victory Park. And we have a home run derby on Saturday night starting at 8 o'clock down here at Northwood. Finish under some portable lights for that. That should be a lot of fun, and look for a good crowd for that too.
Championship games here Sunday?
Championship game is Sunday for the DE division, Saturday night for the C division.
Do you find a lot of these teams are coming back year after year to play in this tournament? They like the money they pay out and the atmosphere and the carnival nearby and all that?
Absolutely. They all like the carnival atmosphere, and we get lots of compliments that we do a good job, so that's nice to hear those things. And they like to come back because they have fun. So, and that's what it's all about, just getting down here, playing the game of softball and having a great time.
You can go to the Duck Duck Daze website for game information and updates on the tournament. Sometimes the difference between catching a fish in the lake and missing it can just be a matter of inches. Terry Tuma talks about finding the strike window for fish in this week's CCX tip.
I had several questions recently, in fact, about strike windows. What is it? Why is it so important to the angler? Well, a strike window is the distance that a fish is going to travel to eat, if you will. And what affects strike windows? You've got a tough bite bass, it's going to travel 1 foot. So if you know, say a point, or you know that a bass is sitting in this one specific area, and you miss that target area by 2 feet, you're not going to catch that fish. That's how important it is. And it's going to increase as the activity level of that fish increases. In fact, if they become much more aggressive, it's going to expand to over 2 feet. And then, of course, in between for the neutral fish. And what affects strike windows? One is weather, of course. The other is the time of the year is another. Water temperature, water clarity, fishing pressure are all factors. But do understand strike windows and strike zone, and you're going to mark fish on your electronics. Use that, you know, if it's for walleyes or whatever it is. And I was just fishing the river, and the electronics were so important. I was running the Hummingbird constantly hovering over these fish. So pay attention to where these fish are positioned throughout your given day of fishing.
Thanks, Terry. That's all for sports. Shannon and Alex, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Up next, we meet one of the official scorekeepers at Twins baseball games.
What he says is one of the toughest parts of the job. That's when we come back.
And finally, learning to keep score at a Twins baseball game.
Wednesday night at Maple Grove Library, people heard from one of the Twins' official scorekeepers.
The role of the official scorer in baseball is often one where somebody is going to be unhappy. If you call an error on a play and a batter doesn't get a hit, you know what will happen that way. The batter might want a hit. If you do call it a hit, well, then that could have an influence on the pitcher's earned run average. And so, yeah.
Stu Thornley has been one of 3 official scorers for the Minnesota Twins since 2007. He and the others take turns scoring the games.
You can have a lot of games in which nothing comes up. You just get to watch a game and keep score from a nice vantage point and enjoy it, and that happens quite a bit. But then you get a game that's got a call in it that might ruin your evening. It might be something that carries on for a few days of arguing and bickering.
That does not sound like fun. Stu said players can challenge official scoring by appealing to Major League Baseball. The scorer will write a statement explaining why they scored a play the way they did, and the play will then be reviewed and finally decided at the league level.